Welcome to the Undrafted, Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome, everyone, to Undrafted Uncensored, where we are way more reliable than the Mark Sanchez Parking Enforcement Agency.
It's probably not the best day to say we're more reliable when there's only 2/3 of us here.
I said more reliable.
I guess you could always count on getting shivved.
Yeah. Stranger things have happened, like the biggest robbery to occur in Philadelphia since 1798. And for those of you that are wondering, why 1798? That is the first documented U.S. bank robbery in Philadelphia. Occurred in 1798. And the most recent robbery? The Denver Broncos stealing a win from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, as we discussed last week, I can't really say it was that much of a robbery because the Eagles did they played into exactly what we said would be the Broncos' favor. They tried to continue to get A.J. Brown involved. Mm-hmm. They didn't run the ball.
No.
The Broncos' run defense is better than it has been in the past.
Yeah.
You saw them on that first drive. They go to Dallas Goedert, get the their first touchdown, because the Broncos defense stopped them in the red zone for the first time this season on their first drive. Didn't allow them to score a touchdown. But they continued to try and pass the ball and not go against this defense or even try and get to the linebacking group because they didn't involve Goddard as much as they should have. They tried to appease A.J. Brown. And we talked about it. I said if the Eagles try to throw the ball all over the field and with A.J. Brown get him overly involved and hyper-focused this week, it was a recipe for failure. And granted, oh my goodness, why am I blanking on not Surtain, but Riley Moss. Riley Moss had a good game. He played well. There were a few calls that were questionable, but at the end of the day, both ways for sure. But at the end of the day, the secondary stood tall and stopped the Eagles' offense or their passing attack from being successful. And that was the thing that we knew the Broncos defense definitely had an advantage in. As good as AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are, even Jahan Dotson, those guys, the matchup, it definitely leans towards the Broncos simply because of how great PS2 is. And they didn't go to their tight ends enough, and they stopped running the ball. The one time they also got Saquon involved was, guess what, in that passing game for a long-ass touchdown, and they didn't do that either against our linebacking core, which is definitely overmatched against either Saquon or Goddard in those situations, and Calcaterra too.
Yeah.
But they played into the Broncos' hands, which is something that's really surprising for the Eagles being at home and Sirianni being their coach. His ego got in the way, or someone's ego. I don't know if Jeffrey Lurie got in his ear and said, we need to appease A.J. Brown. But even going into last night's football game, you saw that. Why are the Eagles not running the ball? I understand their offensive line getting hurt doesn't help, but it doesn't make a lot of sense why Saquon isn't being hyper-focused on or more focused on, because that allows the other opportunities on offense to open up.
Well, and you allowed Jackson Dart to kind of pick you apart too last night, which was another thing that you kind of look at and just wonder what is really going on here. Because, it's been well documented, like you talked about, the Broncos linebackers don't cover well, if at all sometimes. As much as I love Alex Singleton, that dude lets more people get behind him than I can count. Every game you see one of those, he's dropping back, but he's not paying attention. He's looking for his opportunity to go get a sack, and in that catch up in his own head, he ends up letting somebody get open, and it's usually a tight end or a running back.
Yeah, and so for the Broncos, like sitting there, it does show how big of an impact they thought, or I guess how involved Dre Greenlaw was going to be. Like, yeah. I mean, Singleton, I'm sure Singleton, as a revenge game, he played with the Eagles before he came over to the Broncos, wanted to make some big plays, and he wanted to, show out for his former team that didn't give him the same deal or opportunity the Broncos did. And so over pursued or, was just maybe too aggressive. And, I'm not exactly sure. But Greenlaw, it would be so nice to have him on this Broncos defense in that linebacking room, helping this squad. Really, I think that would solidify this defense because if there is one gap in this defense, it is the linebacking core. And I've said it for years. It's just we haven't been able to cover tight ends. There hasn't been any threat of our linebacking group, even though I know now with some of these defensive ends, they're kind of hybrid linebackers. But our linebackers just have not been up to snuff. And I know you can't have every single aspect or position on the field be superstars. But, man, the Broncos are just not good enough there. And I would fully expect teams to start attacking there a little bit more than they have been.
Well, and going into this week, you're already losing Malcolm Roach now, he's questionable for now. You're losing Jonah Ellis.
I thought Roach got activated. I think the question was okay.
He's still listed as questionable on the most recent injury report that I have.
Oh, but is that yesterday's or is that today's? I don't think today's out yet.
It's straight from the Broncos website.
Okay.
It was through the app, so I always get it pulled up just so I have it.
I gotcha.
It has Friday, which is today, full practice for Malcolm Roach, but he's still listed as questionable. But obviously Jonah Ellis did not practice all week with the rib shoulder thing, so he's out. And then you lose Ben Powers too. So there's going to be some questions on that offensive line now. As you're starting to get that offense rolling, who's going to take the place of Ben Powers over on the right guard?
I mean, of the two big signings from last year on the offensive line that we've talked about, the one that we really didn't want to not see in the lineup was Powers. McGlinchey would have been. Well, McGlinchey has tightened it up, I guess. He hasn't been as bad as the start of the season, but Powers has been one of those guys that, you know what? When you're not talking about him, things are going good. And we haven't been talking about him because things have been going pretty good for him. No penalty. I don't think he's had a penalty on the season. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't had one called on him all year long, which is great through 5 games, 4.5, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, the Broncos offensive line is going to have to adjust because the Jets do have they have Quinnen Williams, who's one hell of a pass rusher, which I think he is playing.
He's full participant today in practice. Yeah. So the only ones they have out, Michael Carter II, Alan Lazard, and Brandon Stevens is questionable.
I don't even know who Brandon Stevens is. I know the other 3, but
he's a cornerback.
Okay. Well, I mean, they still have Sauce, who has definitely, as much as PS2 has progressed in his NFL career, I feel like Sauce has regressed.
Yeah.
Speaking of regressing, what's up, Nate Hesser? Appreciate you tuning in, man.
Big Nate.
Love you guys tuning in and being involved, liking us on Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are tuned in from. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, Sauce is still good. Sauce Gardner, but he has not made those next leaps and bounds that PS2 has made. So it's kind of one of those things. Once again, you have this Broncos secondary that is much better. They're facing Justin Fields, who, as great of an athlete as he is, his passing game isn't great, but he does have that connection with Garrett Wilson. And you have to assume that after PS2 basically blanketed AJ Brown last week, that's the plan for him on Garrett Wilson this weekend, and to shut him down. Take the under on Garrett Wilson. Like that's basically how you roll into these weekends anytime they're facing PS2. And for Sauce in that secondary matchup, I still think that Sutton now, if Sauce Gardner had progressed like Surtain had, I would say don't take anything with Sutton this weekend.
Yeah.
Because Sauce is a great cornerback, but he hasn't. And so I think that matchup is pretty even between Sutton and him. But I do also look for Evan Ingram. He started to get involved last week, finally got a touchdown, made some plays, had a little blow up on the sideline with coach. I think do you think that that's a rule? Do you have to start a fight with Sean Payton to get involved and get his respect?
I was wondering the same thing, actually, when I was watching that. I was like, do you just want him to snap back at you so you know that, like, there's somebody in there? Or, like, what's going on?
I mean, Nick, maybe I'm going to start I start a fight with you every time.
Yeah.
I mean, usually it's because you say something dumb and, I say I have
I'm the captain.
I have to be the voice. I have to be the voice of reason to get you back to a respectable level.
Right. Yeah. Still don't know how you walk through a doorway every day with that ego of yours. Jesus.
I have to bring you back down to the right level and just inform you of the correct way to think. But
yeah, still outside reality, though.
So I don't know. Maybe that's how you get Sean Payton's respect, because after that blow up, all of a sudden he gets some looks in the red zone. I really wish 2 weeks ago J.K. Dobbins would have blown up on him to get the last touchdown in the red zone that was R.J. Harvey. But I sit here and wonder when I see what's happening in some of these games, and like why wasn't Ingram more involved? Was his injury worse than was let on? Were we bamboozled? What? And I don't say bamboozled because I think Evan Ingram has enough tape to show what he can really do. And I'm not doubting that he was injured, but were we led to believe he was healthier than he actually was? And then the fight on the sideline, maybe Evan Ingram was finally feeling like himself and coach took off the bubble wrap and let him get hit because, man, I thought he was getting hit that first time and going down, but he survived those hits and got to the end zone and dove and made it in. Like, huge, huge play. So if the Broncos are able to get Evan Ingram more involved now, which is the Joker, maybe Sean Payton didn't like himself anointing himself the Joker in the offseason.
Well, the problem is you went after him for that specific reason, though. So, that was a term Sean used. That was his fault.
But did Sean say Evan Ingram was the Joker? I don't think Sean ever said. Well,
that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, so I think that do you think that Sean Payton had an issue with Evan Ingram anointing himself the Joker? Because Sean never bestowed that label upon him.
No,
Sean must bestow it upon you in order for it to happen.
But at the same time, this is what you're looking for. You're going out there and looking for it. And that's the big name you sign for the big position that you can't get any production out of. The pieces are there. It's inevitable. That's going to happen.
But Sean's ego. We've talked about Sean's ego.
What
ego? That's what I'm saying. Do you think that because, you think I have trouble walking through doors.
I know.
They opened up the archways at Empower Field and at whatever Common Spirit Health One Plaza.
Good job getting that full thing in there
for Sean to walk through, because I think he might have legitimately had an issue with Evan Ingram coming in here and playing all that Joker stuff when Sean Payton never said, "Oh, he's our Joker." Like that's how petty Sean Payton is.
Yeah. Well, he led us all to believe it too, though.
Yeah, but he never said it. He never said it.
I still feel like it was.
If you can find me the quote of Sean Payton saying that Evan Ingram is going to be our Joker, then I will be proven wrong, and I'd be happy to admit that. But I don't remember Sean Payton ever saying that he is the Joker. He might have said he's a Joker type or something along those lines, but he never said, "Yeah, we're going to use him as our Joker role."
Yeah, I'll have to go back. I thought there was something just before preseason started.
But I really don't remember. I don't remember him officially coming out and saying that. And I think that could have, Evan Ingram could have rubbed up,
You
gotten
phrasing
on the wrong side.
phrasing.
Yeah, gotten on the wrong side of Sean Payton with his assumption that he was going to be the Joker role, or at least putting it out there. Because maybe he was pissed off that as much as everyone thought he would be the Joker, maybe him putting it out there in Sean Payton's mind gave other teams an advantage knowing that that's how they're going to use him. All of these things.
Sean does a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, he's the typical paranoid coach too, where he will just talk out one side of his mouth just to give himself the illusion that he's tricking people into thinking something else. I don't know.
Yeah, we know Paul Chesky will replace Powers, Nate. I do see that, but it should have been McGlinchey. Should have been McGlinchey out.
Yeah, I like Paul Chesky being just that extra big man when you send him in.
Eligible.
Yes, I love the tackle eligible.
Oh man,
I'm a little upset about it, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do too, I guess. So.
Well, yeah, and when you're looking at this, it is next man up, and you hope, not that you hope for injuries upon any team, but you hope that they come early and that they are not season ending. That's the one thing that you want this Broncos team to be able to avoid is any season-ending injuries that will cause this team to hopefully, as they're going into the playoffs, be at full strength.
Yeah. They got lucky last year because they didn't have any injuries on the line.
Yeah. That's probably one of the reasons why, even though they were ranked as one of the best offensive lines in football, which I still don't understand, or maybe the best. I think they were the best offensive line.
I think I might have heard the best, and I'm a little
and I still
skeptical.
Didn't really believe it because your running game was bad.
But is that the running game or is that just play call?
I think it's a combination of both, but you still didn't block for any big gains, and you had McLaughlin is still a dynamic back. And if you're not giving him the appropriate holes to go through, then it's hard for him to bust one. Phrasing. I sit there and I say, this offensive line is good. And I don't know offensive line like plenty of other people do. So maybe I'm looking at stuff and not seeing things that are actually there. But I'm seeing it block better, the run game, than last year. I still don't think that they're top of the heap as far as that goes. I think there's still some things they can do better. I mean, we talked about last night's game, Philly and the Giants. But by the way, I called the Giants going in and winning that game. I told a lot of people it was free money, and I said at a minimum take them +7. They are playing much better football, and it's in New York. So
and you could tell the difference when Russ came in for his two plays.
Oh, Dayball was so
man.
pissed. But you can't tell me that watching Scattaboo run through that offensive line and not get touched close to the end zone until he's past the goal line. I can't say I've watched every single snap and hyper focused on the run game, but I don't know if there's been a lot of times that a Broncos running back has gotten through to the secondary, through the middle of the line without getting touched like that. Getting 7-8 yards before a defender lays hands on him. So it probably has happened. It probably happened on one of those long runs.
I thought those were bounced outside, though.
But I thought they were too. So that gives those guys a little bit more opportunity to get loose and have some other blockers out in front where those big guys aren't clogging up the hole, which tells me that the offensive line isn't moving those big men up front on the other side to create those gaps and spaces for either Dobbins or Harvey to run through. Like I said, I'm not an offensive line expert, and I'm not going to pretend to be. But what I am seeing is just not the same type of blocking that you see on some other teams. And maybe they're not hitting the right gaps or holes. But I think that this line, while they might be ranked pretty high, they don't deserve to be in the top grouping.
Okay. Other than playing like a full game on Sunday, which is early in the morning, by the way, people don't forget. They're in London.
7:30
a.m. Other than playing a full game, because we all saw that they didn't really show up till the fourth quarter on Sunday, what else do you think do the Broncos need to do so they walk out with a win and Bob's your uncle? I had to get the British phrase in there, dude.
I know. I knew you're going to slip it in somewhere.
Yeah.
A full game, well, obviously, you got to keep Bo Nix upright. That's one thing that's one thing that will hurt this team. If you start to have Bo Nix get hit and get shaken and get happy feet in the pocket, then you're in trouble. Because as much as I talked about Sauce Gardner not progressing, he's still one that is able to take advantage. And if you have wide receivers like we saw, it wasn't Indy. What was the game after Indy? No, maybe it was the Indy game. If you have wide receivers like, where Marvin Mims gave up on his route, didn't sell it. Yeah. If you have the guys not engaged, simply because you're facing an 0-5 team, you're going to be in trouble. You have to respect your opponent every single week, as we've seen, especially these last 2 weeks.
Ask Arizona.
There have been a lot of upsets, and you take your foot off the gas. It doesn't matter who the team is. You have to respect them enough, and you have to come out and play, and you have to play a full 60 minutes, because you just mentioned Arizona. They were up with, 5-6 minutes left to go by 3 scores.
And everything was self-inflicted. You're dropping the football before you're crossing the end zone, snapping the football into Kyler Murray's face.
Mm-hmm.
There was another turnover that was kicked into the end zone
that Tyler Lockett recovered for a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's self-inflicted wounds. And that comes from not staying mentally focused or being completely prepared. There's one podcast I listen to that's full of Arizona Cardinals fans, and man, Monday they were.
I bet they were. Happy.
They lost it. They lost it.
I'm sure.
One guy literally says, "Why do I have to be a fan of this team just because I live close to them?"
Wow.
Like I don't have to be a fan of this team anymore.
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't like all of this stuff. And that's, that's a problem. It felt like the Broncos had for a few years. There was obviously the whole president owner search.
Yeah,
that everything was in flux with the trust and who was going to take over this team, and there was no direction for this Broncos team. But that team came in unprepared or they started prepared, and then they let their foot off the gas. And that comes from a coaching staff that lets you take your foot off the gas and not take your opponent seriously.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter where you're at. We saw in the Yankees Blue Jays game.
Yeah.
Where the Blue Jays had, what was a 6-1 lead, 6-2 lead?
Yep. Yankees came back.
And Yankees come back and are victorious because the Blue Jays, it seemed they felt like they could put in whoever they wanted to, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, they were coasting.
And it's true in basically every sport. It's not that every team can beat you, but every team can be beat.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to respect them. And so for the Broncos, their key is, like I said, keep Bo Nix upright and steady, and don't turn the ball over. Just win the turnover battle.
And they're still professionals too. Just because they're not winning every game or they are playing to a lower level, whatever you want to call it, they're still a professional athlete. They're still performing way better than you and I would. I mean, if I got out there, ain't no way I'm succeeding. So,
and don't forget, 2 seasons ago, Breece Hall was on his way to like a 5,000-yard game against the Broncos until he tore his ACL in the first half.
Yep.
I mean, he had, what was it? It was like an 80-yard run that he tore his ACL on, I believe. He was, or maybe it was like a 60-yard run, but he was at 100 yards before the end of the second quarter.
Yeah.
Like, Breece Hall is a weapon. And we talked about Saquon and that catch, that wheel route catch that he made out of the backfield that beat Singleton. Breece Hall is fully capable of doing that. And Breece Hall is a better receiver out of the backfield than Saquon. is. Saquon's great, don't get me wrong, but I would take Breece Hall out of the backfield doing that more than Saquon. And I just, if you do not respect your opponent, you do not come to play for 60 minutes, you will be beat. And if you start using excuses about being on the road for 2 straight weeks, being tired, I'm glad Sean, after Sunday's game, they flew right out to London.
Yeah.
There was no pitter patter. We're waiting to get at her. We're getting straight out to London, and we are playing, and we're getting ready for this game. And Sean, in his post-game presser, was asked about the schedule for the team. He's like, it's a normal week. It's the same thing as always.
Yeah.
We're going to get to London. We're going to get some rehab. We're going to get, in and
watch film. And
yeah, he went over the plan of the week. He's like, it's a normal week. This isn't a Aaron Rodgers, I want to drink a Guinness situation.
Yeah. No tea and crumpets for you guys.
Yeah. So that, I guess that's my key is win the turnover. It's kind of the same as every week. Win the turnovers, respect your opponent, play 60 minutes, and keep Bo upright. What about you?
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Getting Justin Fields' kitchen, too. That dude's been hobbling around with that knee injury. So, if you can get to the point where he's contemplating the meaning of life at some point, that's going to help you a whole lot, too. Be smart about trying to getting Sauce Gardner's head. Once that dude is getting pissed off, he starts committing dumb penalties, and he'll start holding. He'll start committing pass interference because he doesn't want to get beat, but he's going to get beat. Be smart about it and work. It worked. Work the run game. It's working. The last 2 games, you've done a good job of getting the run game going. Keep going.
The Broncos don't really have a shit talker.
No, they don't. Well, they might, but it may not be obvious to us.
There's different ways to get in guys' heads, and I think that, and I think that that's one way that you really can get in, mess with Gardner's head is, talking crap.
Yeah.
Talking smack and getting him off of his game. I think that, there's gonna be shit talk in football, but I don't think that there is a DeAndre Hopkins type of talker.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, there's not one of those guys that gets in that mental game enough. Sutton is definitely a lunch pail type. I'm gonna bring my lunch pail to work and I'm just gonna beat you.
Yeah,
he'll talk a little bit. I wonder if Troy Franklin has a little bit of that in him.
I feel like Marvin Mims might be that guy.
I don't think Mims is.
No,
I don't think he is. I
feel like he's a sneaky one.
The one that I was going to say is sneaky that would be really cool is Trent Sherfield.
Yeah,
if you could get if Sherfield goes out there and gets 2 catches on Sauce, and he's like, bro, I haven't been on the same team for 5 straight seasons. I'm catching balls on you. You can't defend a guy who's been on 5 teams in 5 years or whatever it is. I know it's not 5 teams in 5 years. I think it's whatever it is. But I think that would be a sneaky good dig.
That would be
at Sauce to be like, hey, you can't even guard a guy who's he's been on practice squad and special teams the last 6 years.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing? You don't belong. Man. You don't belong on this field. That would get him. That would get him
all fired up. Yeah, that'd be fun. And don't play to the level of your competition. Play above your competition because yes, it's only the Jets, but don't treat it like it's only the Jets because, as we saw last night, they're still professionals and they can still win.
Yep. Yeah, it has been upsets abound as of late. So hopefully the Broncos had a chance to watch some of that game and realize that now I think the Giants are better than the Jets.
Yeah.
But
especially with Jackson Dart now.
To respect your opponent. And like I said, there are those things. The Broncos have done a better job recently of containing mobile quarterbacks, but Breece Hall, you got to stop Breece. And you gotta just not you're right. You have to make Justin Fields see ghosts. Be the second quarterback in the last 5 years in a Jets uniform to see ghosts. What's up, Sam?
I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Speaking of seeing ghosts, Nick.
Yeah.
I heard that the Yankees are a ghost of the postseason as of late.
Yeah, let's get into it. I knew you were waiting for it. Let's just get into it. So here's the problem, and I've been staring at this since June, when they went they had their little funky fall. They are not built like other teams. They are built like the Yankees of old. Bash the ball, get that ball out of the ballpark and win by the home run. You live and die by the home run anymore. And you can't do that. The reason the Blue Jays won, the Blue Jays play small ball. The Blue Jays get guys on and they force you to play defense. They force you to have to throw the ball to the next base to keep them from taking the extra base. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I mean, as much as it pains me, the Blue Jays were the better team. I mean, the Yankees took it down to the last day of who was going to win the East. Would it have been different if the Yankees won the East? Maybe, maybe not, but there was you can't live and die by the home run ball. You've got guys like Volpe and Wells trying to bash the ball out of the ballpark, and you got, Jazz trying to be Jazz. I love his personality, don't get me wrong, but dude, you are not a basher. Be sneaky pop. That's all you need. Be sneaky pop. Volpe, get on base, dude. You've got the speed. You can cause havoc on the base, especially the little bunny hop that you do. I don't know why he does it. It drives me nuts, but he steals bases.
Yeah. Well, when I'm watching this postseason, I'm seeing a lot of these teams. Granted, the Yankees, I mean, you lost your star pitcher at the start of the season.
Yeah.
But you had all season to play. You had all season and you played without him. And you were still, as you said, in the running to get the East crown until the end, which really sucked because if you were going to lose, why didn't you just lose 2 more games? So I would have won my under bet. 92.5, and you guys had to win 94, you you just had to keep going. I would have won both my unders because I definitely crushed my Rockies one.
No way.
You had all season to go along. And I think as much as you say you can't win that way or that's the way they're built, and I think you can in certain aspects, because I do think that if the Yankees had home field, that would have been a big difference, because you also have those short porches and you're more comfortable hitting at home. Let's not. Well, and I guess I do say that too, because I think that's also the way that the Rockies should build themselves.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to take advantage of, what you have at your disposal. And for the Rockies, it's, it's a huge park, but you also have the altitude. And if you get guys who can mash and hit the ball to the wall, you're going to get extra base hits.
Yeah.
And if you also have guys who mash and you have some slap hitters or some guys who will get on base and run or get those extra base hits, and you have 2 guys behind them that are going to hit long fly ball outs, you're getting the run in because you're advancing the runner on those long fly balls. So a long way of saying, I think you can win that way, Nick. I think the Yankees are built in a way that it is possible to win. But in order to do that, you need to consistently be that. And the one thing that I mean, you've heard it all. You've heard it for years, and we've talked about it for years. Is where are your big names in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Judge showed up this year. Judge did show up this year.
2 games though. I think he was kind of a ghost for 3 out of the 5 though. At the plate.
But I mean, he still brings enough, even at the plate, if he's not getting on.
Agreed.
He's forcing you to have to pitch to him, especially with Giancarlo sitting behind him. Part of the problem too is
Stanton didn't have a good series either.
No, well, he was 4 for 15, I think, in the ALDS. So, but G's normally not the guy you have to worry about. G's usually the guy that shows up in October. He's been doing it for the last few years. So, but the other problem too is you look at it. Aaron Boone is. I'm not here to bash Aaron Boone. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Boone is being forced to listen to the sabermetrics people, and that's part of the problem too, because you're building this lineup, and we all know that the Yankees have 2 lineups. They have the righty lineup and the lefty lineup. The problem is when they go for that righty lineup, he stacks left-handed batters. You can't do that anymore because they're going to bring in a guy, and he's going to be forced to work three batters.
Yeah.
And so two of your left-handers are coming in, and they have to face a lefty. You got to make a move. Stagger them. Make your life a little bit easier because now you're taking McMahon out to put in Rosario because they're bringing in a lefty. So now you're sacrificing your offense for your defense. And we all knew what Ryan McMahon was when he was traded over from Colorado to the Yankees. He's not a big offensive guy. They got him because of his glove. And the Yankees needed that at the hot corner. They were having issues. They haven't had the same third baseman since DJ. And we all saw what happened with DJ. DJ got let go.
Yeah. Well, and Rimac, to give a shout out. I mean, what a catch in Game 5, that foul ball, losing his footing and still catching. I mean, he's always going to be one of those guys that, I loved as a Rocky, especially because the Arenado deal and him coming after and the way he stepped into that role. And was he as great of a Colorado Rocky as Nolan? No. But he still played a damn good role through some teams that were, going through purgatory. Yeah. And so like Rimac, I'll always respect. And you knew his power numbers were not going to be what they were like they were in Colorado.
No.
And to go full circle, this goes back to the Rockies and not trading these guys. Cause 2 years ago, you had a lot more value in Ryan McMahon.
Yeah.
Because he was bashing the ball. Man, everything was like 2 years ago. there was like a whole transition of 2 years.
Yeah, John Gray, and I mean, well, even you look at Jeff Hoffman now. He's closing for the Blue Jays.
Yep.
And I mean, 34 out of like 42 saves this season.
The
Drew Pomerantz.
Yeah, Drew Pomerantz coming in and closing or holding leads.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like I hear that name, I'm like, oh my god. He's still playing it, and it really was.
I know, I did too. And I don't want to sound mean. I'm not one to like talk about people's weight, but he's got the dad gut thing going too.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
But he's like thin, but he's got like just the dad gut.
Yeah, I when I sit here and look at this, it's just another sign where the Rockies are in their search for a new GM, and I hope that this GM is active and understands when some things are lost and admits that, because I think that's the problem. I don't think the Yankees have to change everything that they do in order to be successful. I do think the Rockies have to change and go down a different path from what they've planned on in the last few years in order to be successful.
Yes.
Because I think they need to completely change their mindset when it comes to things like free agents, especially free agent pitchers, when it comes to hitters and the type of hitters you're developing and what you're teaching them at the lower levels before you're getting up to the majors.
Yeah.
And what hasn't worked for them in all these years needs to be revamped. So it's a long way of saying, like, Nick, you are right that they lived and died by the long ball for the Yankees. But I do think that you're wrong that you can't be successful that way. But you have to have the right blend of pitching and hitting, clutch hitting especially, which is one thing that's plagued the Yankees in the last few years. Like I said, Judge had a better postseason than he has had in the past.
Yeah.
That being said, it wasn't a high bar. Like, not to be an asshole, but the bar wasn't that high for him to have a better postseason. But a lot of other guys didn't show up in the same way that you would expect. You talk about Stanton.
You lose Trent Grisham. Grish didn't show up.
Oh, great.
Belly didn't show up.
Yeah, Bellinger was a surprise.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys didn't show up for the Yankees. And that's one of those things that I don't want to say you have it or you don't. But Yankees didn't have it this year. And it's a lot like how I feel that the Mariners, have been building up to this moment for a few years. And last year's down year for the Mariners was really one of those eye-opening things where I don't want to say they felt the pressure, but they came prepared for these postseason things. And they're a team that picks each other up in a lot of ways. And you talked about small ball. It's not necessarily that small ball will win win the World Series this year, but you have to have other guys step up besides your big names or the highlight names every single time. You expect those guys to come through sometimes, but sometimes it's the no names. Look at what's happened with the Dodgers.
Oh, I was just going to say, as much as
it's someone different.
Me, Teoscar Hernandez, dude. Anybody that doesn't watch baseball did not know who Teoscar Hernandez was until he started showing up in the postseason last year for the Dodgers. And he's not a guy you'd expect to show up, but the dude comes out clutch for him.
Well, and it's a different guy every year, or every series even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Freddie Freeman on one leg in one series. It's Kike. Like you have a different guy. And yes, Mookie, I mean, I'm not saying Freddie Freeman isn't a superstar, but he was hobbled last year.
Yeah.
But you have your regular guys who come through, but even when they don't, you have some other guys who step up. And that's really the definition of a team, is you have someone else to pick up the slack. Just because your star players or your leaders aren't making those plays, the other guys help to carry that load. And that's what builds a championship, especially in baseball. It's what helps to build a championship team.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the Dodgers too. You and I were talking about this a couple shows ago too. I had my money on the Phillies. You had them on the Dodgers, obviously. And it's the same thing. No, you said World Series, so it's not done yet. So don't be doing this yet. Just get ready. Schwarber doesn't show up. Bryce Harper still hasn't proven himself in October. Your pitching staff did not help you at all. I mean, you've got the bases loaded with 2 out and a comebacker hit at the pitcher. You can't feel the ball. Then you throw it away to allow the Dodgers to end the game that way. October baseball is different, not just because we say it and, it's win or go home. It's a different animal. If you've been to an October baseball game in the postseason, even the fans make it feel different. So it's a different thing. Tonight you have a game 5 right now, or coming up tonight between the Tigers and the Mariners. People are going to be debating, is it the Tigers because they have Skubal? Is it the Mariners because they have Polanco who can bash Skubal? I mean, it's going to be a fun game because, again, unless you are a baseball steamhead like we are, most people are like, oh my God, the Mariners. I haven't heard about them since 2001. And it's
Ken Griffey Jr. still there?
Yeah. Is Edgar Hernandez still a thing?
Edgar Hernandez. Damn it, Nick. I'm going to mute you.
Sorry, I had to.
Someone's probably looking for Tito Martinez out there, too.
Constantino. He's more of a Yankee than he was a Mariner.
I know, but one of both.
But then again, too, tomorrow you have another game 5 between the Cubs and the Brewers.
Yeah, it's and there will be a moment where we talk about those games here in a minute. I just like this part of baseball is so fun. There's we were having this conversation. I don't think we brought it up on here. I had to backtrack a little bit. My dog is looking at me like he wants to go down the stairs right now, but he's looking at me because he's about to do something really sneaky. And he knows it. Like he knows he's going to do something dumb, so he's staring at me to see if I'm paying attention.
What's up, Doug? By the way, thank you for the hello over there,
Doug, Mr. Sheffield. Appreciate you, my man. I think it was Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
What's up, Doug? So when you look at the playoffs and you kind of rank playoffs, like hockey playoffs are by far the best overall. Baseball is great. But there is nothing that compares to an elimination game in baseball, especially if it's a game 7 of like the World Series.
Yeah.
But these game 5s between the Tigers and the Mariners and the Cubs and the Brewers are both going to be great.
Yes.
They should be really fun games to watch. And I'm excited for them. And it's because like when it comes down to it, as far as a specific game rather than series, why baseball is so important, it's because every pitch can change.
Yeah,
it can change the whole dynamic of the game. There we go. Now I got the hiccup out. And that's why baseball, when you're looking at a game 7 or a game 5 in an elimination game, it's so pressure packed and action packed that literally you're hanging on every pitch.
Yeah.
Because one mistake, and we're talking about it in a game, one mistake can be the difference when you have a guy like Scooble on the mound for the Tigers. Like it should be a fun weekend of fun 2 nights of baseball.
Yeah,
heading into the division series.
I'm excited, not just because my Cubs are in it, but that does help too. But I got my Detroit garb on today, partially just because it was
clean.
It fit the day. Yeah, it fit the day.
Don't lie, it's just because it's clean.
I don't know. It's gonna be fun. I just hope both these game 5s make it well worth it. I hope whoever moves on can beat the Dodgers. Sorry, Rep. I still can't like them.
I put my money on them to win, so I'm cheering for them. I cheer with my wallet when it comes to anyone that's not.
I got that $10 bet. They got to win the World Series, though.
Speaking of winning, are the Buffs gonna hang tight against Iowa State?
I don't know, dude. Iowa State has me very intrigued right now because they're ranked 22nd, but I don't know. There's just something about them. It doesn't feel very strong, I guess. No. I'm not trying to crap on them, but it's just like they don't feel like a ranked team, but they are.
You know, the one thing I'll say about this game, which is actually why I've chosen CU straight up on the money line to win this game, is this is a win one for the Gipper type of game. Prime just had another procedure, operation, whatever it's called. He could barely, he couldn't stand. His foot was all swollen last week. I think that this is one of those where team rallies around and the Buffs come out victorious. You're playing in Boulder. I think that all signs point to the Buffs winning this game, which will be at halftime in about 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right about 24 hours from now, 23 and a half hours or 22 and a half hours.
3:30 game?
1:30.
1:30. That's right.
So I really think that for the Buffs, they get back on their winning trend, or at least they get a win this weekend, because Iowa State, you're right. You don't quite know, and they have a number next to their name, so they should have some sort of respect.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're any more talented than the Buffs are.
No.
And I think when you combine that motivation with the talent that the Buffs have, that they come out there and really do a good job against Iowa State at home. And maybe it's the last win of the season, and maybe Caden Salter holds on to his starting job for another few weeks, just because they want to keep Juju with the ability to redshirt for a season. He's sneaking down the stairs again. I see you, Laco. Yeah, turn around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely.
I'm going to mute you now.
But I really do think that the Buffs get a win this weekend, straight up, because I think that there's a lot of motivation for them to do that, because there's a possibility that they might not have Prime for some future games too.
And both teams have allowed turnovers to dictate their games too. Obviously, Iowa State's had more turnovers than their opponents, so that helps a lot. The Buffs have not had more turnovers than their opponents. They like to give the ball away. And so play clean football. Show up for more than just like 3 series where you're going to score, 12 points.
Well, play a whole game.
Yeah. Let's play a whole game. There's potential on that team to win. And they've shown flashes of brilliance. But it's like watching sparklers right now. You just light it up and whee!
And then it's gone. Yeah. Well, and Coach Prime has said it plenty of times. He feels like they're more talented, and I'm with Zach By. Like, I'm tired of hearing you tell me that they're more talented, because then you're telling me that they're not, that you're not preparing them well enough, and that what you're seeing in practice is what you're seeing on the field. So change it. But I do think these guys. I do think that these guys come out with more fire and play better this weekend against Iowa State. But speaking about playing a whole game, one team, I'm just moving us along, Nick.
I noticed.
One team that's played a whole game twice in a row is the Colorado Avalanche, as they got Nathan McKinnon with the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, goal to win the game last night against the Utah stolen mascot.
Yeah, stolen Mammoth. Nickname. Way to be creative, Utah.
The Avs are starting off hot. I bet before the season they had McKinnon to score 50 goals at plus money. I was like, oh, okay. Thank you very much. I'll take easy money.
That free money.
Yeah.
And I mean, Marty Natchez, dude, showing up. He's gonna force the Avs to pay him, and I won't be mad about it. This is starting to feel like what their cup run again, because this feels like a solid team. Everybody's got a year under them. Captain's back, so he's got all the direction in the room again. There's not Nate doing double duty.
Yeah.
It's he could just focus on being him, and the team looks good. They look exciting. I can't wait for the season to really start rolling. And
well, yeah, so some of that pressure was off of those guys.
Yeah,
we remember 3 seasons ago, right? 3 seasons ago after the Cup, the first time when they didn't have Landeskog, it was McKinnon and Rantanen.
Yeah,
that they were scoring everything.
Yeah.
Then 2 seasons they started to get some help, and then last year it was a little bit better, but you still had to add some pieces. You didn't feel totally comfortable. But you're right, the whole squad's together, and it feels like they are going on a Stanley Cup run,
which would be great. I mean, they just get one more. Let the captain retire after that, so we don't have to worry about his knee.
Yeah.
I mean, sad to see EJ up in the booth now, but it's kind of cool to hear EJ up in the booth now. Dude's got a great personality, so him and Connor will be a lot of fun.
Wait till the postseason starts to roll around and he laces them up again.
Right.
One last time. They bring him back on from long-term IR or whatever.
Well, he better fit under the cap at least. Remember, they changed that.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. They're not the Dallas Stars, but I'm sure they have someone to figure it out.
No. You know what you should do? You should tell us if we figured it out last week with our victory formation.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, it's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin just kind of winging it.
Oh, that's right, everybody. This is the victory formation where we make real bets with fake money and keep track of it to see who is the smartest throughout the year and who makes the most money, most fake money, that is. I'll make some real money when the Dodgers win the series, but that's all right. We don't have to get into it. Well, we might be missing 1/3 of the crew, but that's all right. We still have our picks from last week, and we'll make our picks for this week. One of us went 4-1. Another one of us went 3-2, and then another one of us went 2-3. Who was it? Who got it? Who won this week? Well, let's get into it. We started things off with the Tigers versus the Mariners last week. This was the Sunday set of games. Well, Joe and I both picked the Mariners at plus 100, even money. Nick said Skubal, which is the matchup tonight. Skubal against Kirby.
Yep.
Would win. Well, the Mariners came out victorious. So Joe and I both won that one for a sweet $20. Yankees versus Blue Jays last Sunday. Unfortunately for me and Nick, we both picked the Yankees in this one. Joe was the only one to take the Blue Jays, winning $22.50. The curse, is it dead? Well, we'll have to find out in a moment because we all chose the Vikings to beat the Browns, and they hung on to win in Europe last week. So at minus 150, we all won 16.67. Move on to Sunday Night Football. Patriots Bills. What did I tell you, everybody? I loved the Pats in this one, and they came through victorious. Pats, I was the only one to choose the Pats. At plus 380, I won $48. And then Chiefs versus Jaguars. Me and Nick both picked the Jaguars, meaning that we both won $25.50. So for the week, Nick in third place, winning $12.17, still profit, Joe in second, 39-17. And I had a huge week winning over $100, $100.17 to be exact, pushing me up into first place for the year at 542. Nick still in second at 488. Joe in third at 383. Let's get on to the picks for this week. Me and Nick will pick them, and then we'll add Joe's in at some point in time. We're going to start things off with the game in London. I don't really think we need to spend a ton of time on this. Nick, are you taking the Broncos to beat the Jets?
I am.
Yeah, me too. All right. That was easy.
Yeah.
We move on to, for those of you who are watching, you probably knew that was happening. We appreciate you tuning in and listening. But we had to pick it. It's the London game. It's a special game. We move on to the Lions versus the Chiefs. This is Sunday Night Football. Lions going into Arrowhead at plus 110 underdogs. Chiefs favorite at home. This is one of those. The Lions are one of the best teams in football. But this is this is Vegas trying to tell you there's something up, something in the water. Giving the Chiefs, giving the Lions a plus 110, even on the road with the way they've played recently, is questionable, I guess I should say. So it feels like they're begging for people to put money on the Lions, and I will not fall into that trap. I will take the Chiefs. Nick, who you got?
You know what? I'll take the bait. I'm going to go Lions because I still don't trust the Chiefs, even if it is an Arrowhead.
Well, that's fair. Or Yeehaw, whatever it is now. It's Arrowhead.
I'm still
just like it's always Mile High.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Monday Night Football, we have the Bills who I just mentioned lost to the Patriots at home. By the way, I love their whiteout uniforms, but dude, it's October.
Yeah.
Like January 1st. If you got a New Year's game, bro.
That's a December unit.
Bust that out in the snow. I mean, I guess it would be kind of dumb, especially if it is snowing. You probably couldn't see your players.
That's the point.
But that would be great. Like, it's like the blue turf, like in Boise. Like you can lay down and hide. Okay, but we have the Bills going to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Falcons home underdogs plus 185. Bills minus 225. Who you got, Nick?
Yeah, they're not losing two in a row, and especially to the Falcons. Give me the Bills.
The Falcons are coming off of a bye week, and the Bills had a short week with that. They played Sunday night, but
they're playing
short
Monday
week with an extra day. But the Falcons have the extra rest, and I worry that the Bills are in a little bit of a midseason slump right here. I don't. It's tough for me to say they lose two in a row, but I think they do here because Bijan and that running game will be healthy, and I believe the Falcons will have Darnell Mooney back, another weapon on offense for Michael Penix.
But they're still relying on Penix.
Always. I don't know. I'm not going to go there with the phrasing. We move on to the baseball games we just mentioned. First games first, it is the Tigers versus the Mariners. Mariners at home, underdogs once again, as it's Scooble and Kirby. It's plus 100, minus 120 for the Tigers. At home, game 5, I am going with the Mariners after having just been there. I've cheered for that team on a side note for the last few seasons, or at least rooted for them. So give me the Mariners to pull it out. It's going to be tough to beat Scooble twice in one series. I don't know if they have it, but this is a rooting interest one more than anything. Nick, who you got?
I know last time I picked Scooble and Polanco just owned him, but I don't think Scooble's one of those guys that will allow you to beat him twice. Like you said, it's really hard to beat Scooble twice. Give me the Motor City Kitties.
Yep, and then we move on to our last game tomorrow night. Cubs Brewers. I made this easy, because we already know who Nick is taking. Cubs are
go Cubs go. Go Cubs go.
At plus 110. Brewers home favorites at minus 130. The Cubs were hitting the hell out of the ball. Nick is taking the Cubs. The Cubs were hitting the hell out of the ball last night at Wrigley. Even had a home run called back by inches.
Oh man,
that was so close. That review was wild. But
that was
just so we can wrap this up, at least this part of it, so everyone gets the picks before we lose you on Instagram. I think the Brewers hold on. They were too good all year. I think it's going to be a great game, though. I honestly don't care either way who wins this game because the Dodgers are going to beat them in the next round. So give me the Brewers. Moving on.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are going to win tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That was a nice try. I think that those chances might be sent into space.
Thanks everybody for tuning in today. Thank you, Michael Spillane, and everybody over at e5280sports.com for hosting us. Thank you to Pikes Peak Sports Cards, our sponsor, and thank you everybody. Go Sports, we love you. Thanks for tuning in. Without you, we couldn't do this. I mean, we would still do it, but it would be way more boring. So thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Go Buffs, go Broncos, go Rams, go Avs, go Nuggets.
Yeah.
Go Sports.
Oh, fair. Nate, a few shout outs. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Love you guys.